Peace. Ephraim here, man. I want to talk to y'all today, and I want to ask you a question specifically. What if everything that you're looking for, everything that you've ever wanted, that you want to attract, manifest in your life, is simply behind you and your ability to remain open? What if it's all about you remaining open? Like, this is a question I've had to ask myself more recently. I feel like I've had so many great experiences that have opened me up, taken me out of my comfort zone 100%. Just being here, like, and being honest with y'all, I know I said I've been showing up consistently. I've been getting outside, but making connection and what if like our ability to actually foster and like flourish those connections, I would say. What if our ability to flourish and nurture connection is simply behind us remaining open? And now I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a story, just how this has showed up in my life, right? So, y'all know me, and on this channel, we're talking a lot about productivity. We're talking about accepting ourselves, right? And, being in alignment towards our goals. However, more recently, the more that I've been invited out to different spaces, I've been having conversations, and it's been a lot about being present in the moment. There's been a lot of things that, like, even when I now perceive and I think about my ideas of or behind love, right? Really love and connection. I realize as much as I can have this end goal in mind, I can have this thought of what I'm expecting and how I would like to see it. I feel like I'm learning, right? This is probably a big part of the Virgo in me, right? That Virgo moon. But no, for real, when you think about Virgos, I think about Kobe, Beyonce. I'm pretty sure Beyonce is the prototype Virgo of like, we want to structure, we want to organize things in life to look and be a certain way. But just like in the past when we've talked about elastic flexibility, right? For instance, I just had a routine today, not a routine today, but y'all know my routine. Like, I'm in the gym, I'm doing Muay Thai, I'm doing martial arts. But there's just something that took me off my path. And when I was having a conversation about someone, about like, how do we even just have fun in the moment, right, in our lives? How do we let go of these plans that we had set in stone? Like, this is the routine, we know the system, we know the habits, but then what about actually enjoying the experience, right? Because there's so many things I've been working toward, like here in Chicago. Like, it's some concerts, some shows, there's some conferences, like a artist conference, like shout out Ground Waves, put on by the legendary MERS. And it's just an opportunity for creative artists to come out, connect, but also listen to industry legends and professionals like Killer Mike, Brother Ali, and hip hop, underground, Vic Mensa as well, and just have that proximity to somebody who's been successful, right? And so, these are all beautiful things, beautiful opportunities. But what I'm saying is, like, I'm finding myself balancing between, like, okay, I'm working towards this goal, but also the soft skill, or the soft skill is like a funny way of saying it, but no, the soft skill, or the really emotional intelligence and the more creative feminine side, right, of how am I actually going to show up when I get there. And it's had me thinking about more recently, what am I really creating from? And y'all know, when I get into scarcity versus abundance, I feel a lot of times, right, when we get so closed off to opportunity, to just situations, right? If somebody if somebody's like, hey, come out to this event, right? Like, let's let's go hang out, let's go do this, like let's go have this experience, right? We never know what these experiences can provide to us in our life. And I feel like it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole of productivity and just work, work, work. We talk about hustle culture nowadays. But it's like, even if I'm working all throughout my life, how do I really want to experience the work? And how am I actually treating the people around me? How am I, because I used to think about this a lot, like even moments when I felt like I had this conviction in my past, right? And I felt that I became very stern with people and my ego, right? I was really projecting my ego at the forefront, I'll say that. But it wasn't for me to be negative. It wasn't for me doing it in a sense of like, oh, I just want to downplay others or make people feel bad. No, that's never been my thing. But I was in the space where I was getting very hyper vigilant, and even to the people that I love, when I think about, closer friends at the time, family members, like even just, like my mom and just that relationship. I'll be transparent. It hasn't always felt the closest. It hasn't always felt the most received, and that's probably on both of our ends, like on my end, and maybe she's felt that way too. However, transforming what these connections feel like through me simply just being open and accepting to those people who they are, right? Even we think about the people that raised us, flaws and all, it's knowing that everyone is constantly, consistently giving their best. Whatever that means is just simply boiled down to the capacity that they have to hold at the moment. When we really consider what are other people doing in their lives, and we acknowledge that nobody is a perfect person, that I feel like that's really important and is key to what I'm saying. But really, to get even further to that point is just knowing that when I can really accept them, when I can really be open, it allows the opportunity for things to get better. It allows the opportunity for change. Because when I was hyper vigilant and I would just shut relationships down, I would just shut I would just shut things down. Like if I didn't like them, or for instance, if I felt like somebody made a mistake and maybe they technically didn't do right by me, right? And I've been having conversations recently about the conscious community and the spiritual community, and how I've kind of perceived that over the years, and I've learned from a lot of people. But what I just ultimately seen be a downfall, even the church, because I told you I was going to speak on this before, right? Growing up in a church, people will also say things about being raised in the church or just those conservative values. It's like the ultimate downfall that I've seen in all these spaces, no matter who it is. It's just that we're not genuinely approaching people and treating them with love, care, concern and connection. And so for me, more recently, coming across relationships where I'm actually being shown that type of compassion earnestly, right? Like truly, in truth, people are really like, hey, how are you doing? How do you feel? Like, just, how am I showing up? And I feel like that's maybe just part of my conversation as well. That's something that I'm reciprocating and I'm getting more into. I'm getting back to, and that goes all the way around to my family as well, of just knowing like I really care for us. I care for our success, And when I think about my community, the community that I've been born into, right? But the upbringing that I've had, being involved, and even the community that I've built, like the connection just over time, I've really had a real genuine concern, and not even just being concerned, but just really connected to people. And now that I feel like I'm in a place where I'm learning how to re-engage, I feel like my success is starting to show from it, right? Like, and it doesn't even just have to be people. Like, I know I talk a lot about self on this channel, right? I talk about myself because this has been my journey in large. And also just to share with you guys, to give context, I feel like we all should come back to ourselves, right? We should be centered around ourselves and have this compassion for who we are. So it's just as important to remain open to all our mistakes, right? All the shortcomings that we might have, but not knowing that, or knowing that even if we're not exactly where we might want to be in the moment, when we can remain open to what is the possibility for my growth, right? Like, if I'm able to remain consistent, I can remain devoted to my process, how much better can things be for me? And ultimately, going back to that place of like receiving, when we think about this feminine flow, this energy, because it's, for me, especially as a man, knowing like it's very masculine to show up and want to give and give. All right, hey guys, so I actually got cut off, and it's funny because where we actually were going to was this place of feminine flow, but also receiving the things that we want within life. It's been so interesting because me as a man, a black man in particular, learning more how to receive the abundance, not operating in this place of scarcity, and really being open to what God has for me, and knowing that what is meant for me is meant for me. And I feel like it's that conversation that we've talked about before, as a man thinketh, and really just whoever you are, whatever seeds that you're planting in your mind, whatever path you take, if it's one of being open, then I truly believe that's what you're going to receive. Because if we look for the positive in our experiences throughout the universe, we look for the optimism and the possibilities within people, I feel like that fuels the ability to foster our connections and even deepen our connection with ourselves, right? Because we have a positive self-image and healthy outlook into who we are, and we're just open to that growth and possibility. But just the same, if we hyperfixate, we ruminate on the negative, and we're closed off in many different aspects of life, just to change, to growth, to new opportunity, and we don't even let there be the possibility that, maybe this just might work out. This just might be what I need right now. This just might be exactly what I've been looking for. I feel like at some point we have to make that decision. We have to make that choice on how do we want to really show up and be accountable for our own lives. And so that's been more of what I'm experiencing lately, like that crossroads and that decision. For me, it's choosing to remain open. I feel like it's pushing me so much further than I would imagine on my own. Like, even if we talk about timing before, right? When we talk about Kairos and God's timing versus really my timing, man-made timing, and what I think is best in alignment. And that goes back to even just having a schedule and being like, I need to do this today, I need to do that. But it's like, no, this all gets done in divine timing, right? In God's time. Not to mean that we're just slacking or we're not being intentional, but there has to be days in my mind, right, and just in my experience, where what if we can just consider that, you know what, this is what I need to be doing right now. There's another lesson that I can be taught in this moment, and it doesn't always have to revolve around productivity. And again, that masculine of just build, work. Even, and it's easy for me. I'm saying this as a person. It's so easy for me to hyper focus and go through that that route of like, yo, there's so much that I'm building right now, so much that I'm being intentional about, and even just planning into the future. And sometimes with connection with other people, just seeing like, okay, like how can we work? How can we make this happen? Da da da. But man, when I tell you, like, just the experiences that I've had, even the past couple of days, listening to people and also seeing them, but like seeing myself within that reflection of other people as well, and knowing more about their journey, like remaining curious, and like, wow, you know, that's something that you went through as well. You know, you might share in grief, right? We've talked about that before for sure on this channel. And for me, recently meeting people who've also dealt with, you know, losing a loved one. Like how many times does that happen throughout life? And it's completely unexpected. Like just the reality, like who plans for that type of thing, you know? But I just seen someone like at this creative event. I've spoke to a couple people, and one person in particular was just talking about like losing a parent and even someone that they love and that they were in like a relationship with, intimate connection. And it's like, we don't think about what it might take for a person just to show up and make it through that, you know. And I feel like having that shared experience and sharing that connection and that bond, even if it might seem traumatic, because it definitely can be, but it allows people to feel received, to feel loved, to feel cared for and seen, when they know like, wow, you know, I had the courage to come and share my story, but my story isn't just for me, right? My story allows other people to feel like they can authentically be themselves. They're, you know, part of this collective energy, and it's just collective experience of we're all people going through similar things, right? Having our own doubts and having our own, you know, hard times and experiences. And it's never meant for us to be perfect, but it's meant for us to be open to life. You see what I'm saying? Like we're not here to be robots in the matrix, so they say, right? To be NPCs. But it's like when we really can express our emotions genuinely, authentically, we can even admire one another, right? Just share that we have that appreciation for what we see, and you know what other people have to offer, and that value. I think it goes such a long way. And so even when somebody asks me about like networking or something like that, like, oh, you know, you're a natural networker, and I'm just like, thank you. And we even kind of came to consensus. It's not even that it's about that term of like networking and like, oh, this is business and what can I do with this person again. But it's more so about how can I be curious about someone else and their experience today. And for me, it's ultimately just like I'm sharing with you guys, like, what can I learn? What can I learn from someone else? How can I apply it to my life? And how can I continue to strive to be a better person? And when we just see each other, sometimes it's vice versa of, oh, wow, you know, if that person made it through it, then I truly believe like I can be successful as well. It's possible. We don't have to live in this one dimensional place, right? So keeping that in mind, and I'm remembering like where I left off with you guys earlier too, but also just keeping ourselves right as a centered focal point too, and knowing that we can remain just as open and compassionate for ourselves, just like we give that empathy for other people. It's like, know that this journey isn't a rigid linear thing, right? Like there's a lot of times for me, like I have expectations and I have goals of like, I wanted to be doing this by this time, I wanted to have this accomplished, I wanted this opportunity. But then it's like, even just being grateful again, and this gratitude, man, this gratitude being a real prayer of like thanking God for like, where am I at today that I was not at yesterday, right? Knowing that there's a past version of us that prayed to experience this very moment. Like, I'm in my own apartment. I was literally telling y'all months ago, like, yo, I don't know how I'm gonna get to Chicago. I don't know how it's gonna work. And it's like, now I'm in this apartment and there's like some new things going on. I got a new landlord, and new problems might arise, quote unquote. But it's just like knowing that truly there is someone else who would be grateful to have our problems, and there's a past version of ourselves who is grateful to have these problems. So honoring these past versions of ourselves and being open to like, what is everything that I've been working towards and that I've made progress in, right? Let me actually acknowledge myself. Let me affirm my own efforts and see all the progress that I've made that's just getting me deeper and deeper connected and closer to the goals that I have for self, and just, I would say, that idea of success, like just knowing that I'm already successful because I'm living this life truly, right? Like I'm doing the things, I'm being the version of myself that I say, this higher version of self. I don't have to wait. Nobody has to wait. You do not have to wait to be a higher version of yourself. Like just the actions and the character that you show up as, the principles you might choose to act on. And again, it's not going to be pretty every day. It's not going to be clean. It's not going to be perfect. But it's not about what happens to us in life, right? It's just simply, how are we responding to each moment? How are we really being present? How are we being open, genuine? This is so funny. I promise you guys, this is the last time that we're restarting. But to what I was saying, actually, before my storage got filled up, I think it's exactly it, being open to each moment. And so, like, that being said, I just want to leave you guys with, again, gratitude. That's what this prayer is about for me. This is the prayer that I pray, and I would love for you to share in it, of just being thankful for everything that we've done to get us to this point, right? I know you're a person, you're watching this, you worked hard on your journey, and you've made a lot of progress in your life. We might look at it through this small lens and we try to minimize it, because there is no big or small. Like, just the fact that we showed up and we're alive today, right? And we've gotten to this point throughout our whole lives to be here in this very moment, and we're making this progress. That's a testament in itself. With everything that goes on in life and everything that goes on in the world, I feel like it's important to really just have that openness, have that compassion, and shoot, thank you, right? Like, sometimes just take that time to look at yourself, acknowledge yourself, be present in who you are, and just open to, like, again, we talk about that self-affirmation. Like I've really come a long way. I've really done a lot to be this person, to be this version of me. And even just that, that thought of like destination fatigue of like, oh, I'm not exactly where I want to be. It's like, but you're making progress. You're literally getting closer to that point. You're literally reaching the place where you want to be, because again, we never fully arrive, but it's the fact that we're striving and that we're moving right in forward motion and we're making change. That is the best place to be. That is the destination, because that's the growth. That is the process of learning. All right, so that's exactly what I'm here to do. I'm here to learn and grow with you guys. But sincerely, thank you for everything that y'all have helped me see and realize on this journey. The fact that y'all show up and you guys patiently wait for me whenever I get these videos out to you. And now that we're expanding into it, like we're doing more. And yeah, I'm just seeing what you guys have responded positively to. And I know now I'm building my own community. I'm fostering more of a connection with you. I want to say thank you. And if there's anything that you feel like you want to see more of from me, please let me know. Please let me know down below. And we talked about some of the things that have been successful on the channel so far, as far as like, well, it's all successful actually, because it's my story and it's been beautiful to share and be received. However, I know there's some things that stand out more to you guys. So yeah, I'm looking forward to deeper connecting with self, because most of it was around self-acceptance and knowing how to be flexible. So also, if you want more on this topic of being open, and yeah, you haven't checked out the video, either I would say effortless efficiency and also the elastic flexibility, definitely check that out. And I'm looking forward to hearing more from you guys. So thank you again. And until next time, I'll see you. Peace.